say I'm sorry. I don't know if it's tonight, tomorrow, next week, but I'm asking for forgiveness.
Chad, now you understand what the Lucha Libre culture is about? I'm losing the mask. It's painful enough. I forgive you. But remember, I'm not the only one you offended. Recuérdalo muy bien.
This is a long time coming. We got the GOAT, we got the King of New York, and the man who got everything on his Christmas list this year. Ricky Savage, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go! I'm watching you. Alex told me to.
इटली में तो हमने देखा हुआ कि आप मगर आज हम इटली में फिर से हैं बेलोनिया इटली में fans are excited to continue you scored like best
Coach, I watched him. I enjoy him.
You get anxiety, you get things in life, you know, but you gotta deal with it, you know? You gotta deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like people.
It might not feel as good in the moment, but you'll be glad you used it more.
Chat, what's up, chat?
Turn your flow into stock. If you work on something a little bit every day, you end up with something that is massive. Kenneth Goldsmith. Stock and flow is an economic concept that writer Robin Sloan has adopted into a metaphor for media. Flow is the feed. It's the posts and the tweets. It's the stream of daily and sub-daily updates that remind people you exist. Stock is the durable stuff. It's the content you produce that's as interesting in 2 months or 2 years as it is today. It's what people discover via search. It's what spreads slowly but surely, building fans over time. Sloan says the magic formula is to maintain your flow while working on your stock in the background. In my experience, your stock is best made by collecting, organizing, and expanding upon your flow. Social media sites function a lot like public notebooks. They're places where we think out loud, let other people think back at us, then hopefully think some more. But the thing about keeping notebooks is that you have to revisit them in order to make the most out of them. You have to flip back through old ideas to see what you've been thinking. Once you make sharing part of your daily routine, you'll notice themes and trends emerging in what you share. You'll find patterns in your flow. When you detect these patterns, you can start gathering these bits and pieces and turn them into something bigger and more substantial. You can turn your flow into stock. For example, a lot of the ideas in this book started out as tweets, which then became blog posts, which then became book chapters. Small things, over time, can get big. Build a good domain name. Carving out a space for yourself online, somewhere where you can express yourself and share your work, is still one of the best possible investments you can make with your time. Andy Bayer. Social networks are great, but they come and go. Remember MySpace, Friendster, GeoCities? If you're really interested in sharing your work and expressing yourself, nothing beats owning your own space online. A place that you control, a place that no one can take away from you, a world headquarters where people can always find you. More than 10 years ago, I staked my own little internet claim and bought the domain name austinklumar.com. I was a complete amateur with no skills when I began building my website. It started off bare bones and ugly. Eventually, I figured out how to install a blog, and that changed everything. A blog is the ideal machine for turning flow into stock. One little blog post is nothing on its own, but publish 1,000 blog posts over a decade, and it turns into your life's work. My blog has been my sketchbook, my studio, my gallery, my storefront, and my salon. Absolutely everything good that has happened in my career can be traced back to my blog. My books, my art shows, my speaking gigs, some of my best friendships, they all exist because I have my own little piece of turf on the internet. So if you get one thing out of this book, make it this. Go register a domain name by www.insertyournamehere.com. If your name is common or you don't like your name, come up with a pseudonym or an alias and register that. Then buy some web hosting and build a website. These things sound technical, but they're really not. A few Google searches and some books from the library will show you that. If you don't have the time or inclination to build your own site, there's a small army of web designers ready to help you. Your website doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to exist.
What's up, chat?
Don't think of
How
your
y'all
website
doing?
as a self-promotion machine. Think of it as a self-invention machine.
We are building a parrot house
You can become the person you really want.
right now. Look at this.
Fill your website with your work.
We're building a parrot house for my parrots. That 2 of them died. I have 2 of them left,
You will be tempted
so we need to keep
obey
breeding them. You know. I got
the
Jeff.
shiniest
We're gonna call him Jeff.
Don't give in.
Uh,
Don't let it fall into the
Mimi.
ground.
We're gonna call him Mimi.
Think
Mimi and
about it
Jeff.
in the long term. Stick with it, maintain it, and let it change with you over time. When she was young and starting out, Hattie Smith got this advice from William Burroughs.
I look big.
Build a good name. Keep your name clean. Don't get compromised.
Thank you.
Don't worry about making
Appreciate
a bunch of money or being successful. Be concerned with doing good work. And if you can build a good name, eventually that name will be its own currency. The beauty of owning your own turf is that you can do whatever you want with it. Your domain name is your domain. You don't have to make compromises. Build a good domain name, keep it clean, and eventually it will be its own currency. Whether people show up or they don't, you're out there, doing your thing, ready whenever they are. 4. Open up your cabinet of curiosities. Don't be a hoarder. The problem with hoarding is you end up living off your reserves. Eventually, you'll become stale. If you give away everything you have, you are left with nothing. This forces you to look, to be aware, to replenish. Somehow the more you give away, the more comes back to you. Paul Arden. If you happen to be wealthy and educated and alive in the 16th and 17th century Europe, it was fashionable to have a Wunderkammer, a wonder chamber, or a cabinet of curiosities in your house. A room filled with rare and remarkable objects that served as a kind of external display of your thirst for knowledge of the world. Inside a cabinet of curiosities, you might find books, skeletons, jewels, shells, art, plants, minerals, taxidermy specimens, stones, or any other exotic artifact. These collections often juxtapose both natural and human
Sabaha,
wonders,
thank you so much.
revealing a kind of
Appreciate
mashup
it.
of handiwork by both God and human beings. They were the precursors to what we think of today as the modern museum, a place dedicated to the study of history, nature, and the arts. We all have our own treasured collections. They can be physical cabinets of curiosities, say, living room bookshelves full of our favorite novels, records, and movies, or they can be more like intangible museums of the heart, our schools lined with memories of places we've been, people we've met, experiences we've accumulated. We all carry around the weird and wonderful things we've come across while doing our work and living our lives. These mental scrapbooks form our tastes, and our tastes influence our work. There's not as big of a difference between collecting and creating as you might think. A lot of the writers I know see the act of reading and the act of writing as existing on opposite ends of the same spectrum. The reading feeds the writing, which feeds the reading. I'm basically a curator, says the writer and former bookseller Jonathan Lethem. Making books has always felt very connected to my bookselling experience, that of wanting to draw people's attention to things that I liked, to shape things that I liked into new
What's up,
shapes.
chat?
Our tastes make us what we are, but they can also cast a shadow over our own work. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste, says public radio personality Ira Glass. But there is this gap. For the first couple of years you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. Before we're ready to take the leap of sharing our own work with the world, we can share our tastes in the work of others. Where do you get your inspiration? What sorts of things do you fill your head with? What do you read? Do you subscribe to anything? What sites do you visit on the internet? What music do you listen to? What movies do you see? Do you look at art? What do you collect? What's inside your scrapbook?
You have a hardcore world or no? No, I don't play hardcore.
What do you stick on your refrigerator?
I don't have a hardcore. No way I can play
Who's
that.
done work that you admire? Who do you steal ideas from?
I would never,
Do you have
like,
any
it's so hard for me
heroes?
to play that
Who
type
do
of
you
game.
follow online? Who are the practitioners you look up to in your field? Your influences are all worth sharing because they clue people in to who you are and what you do, sometimes even more than your own work. No guilty pleasures. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. If you like something, like it. Dave Grohl. About 20 years ago, a trash man in New York City named Nelson Molina started collecting little bits and pieces of art and unique objects that he found discarded along his route. His collection, the Trash Museum, is housed on the second floor of the Sanitation Department garage on East 99th Street, and it now features more than 1,000 paintings, posters, photographs, musical instruments, toys, and other ephemera. There isn't a big unifying principle to the collection, just what Molina likes. He gets submissions from some of his fellow workers, but he says what goes on the wall and what doesn't. I tell the guys, just bring it in and I'll decide if I can hang it. At some point, Molina painted a sign for the museum that reads, "Treasure in the Trash" by Nelson Molina. Dumpster diving is one of the jobs of the artist. finding the treasure in other people's trash, sifting through the debris of our culture, paying attention to the stuff that everyone else is ignoring, and taking inspiration from the stuff that people have tossed aside for whatever reasons. More than 400 years ago, Michel de Montaigne, in his essay On Experience, wrote, "In my opinion, the most ordinary things, the most common and familiar, if we could see them in their true light, would turn out to be the grandest miracles and the most marvelous examples. All it takes to uncover hidden gems is a clear eye, an open mind, and a willingness to search for inspiration in places other people aren't willing or able to go." We all love things that other people think are garbage. You have to have the courage to keep loving your garbage, because what makes us unique is the diversity and breadth of our influences, the unique ways in which we mix up the parts of culture others have deemed high and the low. When you find things you genuinely enjoy, don't let anyone else make you feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about the pleasure you take in things you enjoy. Celebrate them. When you share your taste and your influences, have the guts to own all of them. Don't give in to the pressure to self-edit too much. Don't be the lame guys at the record store arguing over who's the more authentic punk rock band. Don't try to be hypocritical. Being open and honest about what you like is the best way to connect with people who like those things too. Credit is always due. Do what you do best and link to the rest. Jeff Jarvis. If you share the work of others, it's your duty to make sure that the creators of that work get proper credit. Crediting work in our copy and paste age of reblogs and retweets can seem like a futile effort, but it's worth it, and it's the right thing to do. You should always share the work of others as if it were your own, treating it with respect and care. When we make the case for crediting our sources, most of us concentrate on the plight of the original creator of the work. But that's only half of the story. If you fail to properly attribute work that you share, you not only rob the person who made it, you rob all the people you've shared it with. Without attribution, they have no way to dig deeper into the work or find more of it. So what makes for great attribution? Attribution is all about providing context for what you're sharing. What the work is, who made it, how they made it, when and where it was made, why you're sharing it, why people should care about it, and where people can see some more work like it. Attribution is about putting little museum labels next to the stuff you share. Another form of attribution that we often neglect is where we found the work that we're sharing. It's always good practice to give a shout out to the people who've helped you stumble onto good work, and also leave a breadcrumb trail with people you're sharing with who follow back to the sources of your inspiration. I've come across so many interesting people online by following via and hat tip links. I'd have been robbed of a lot of these connections if it weren't for the generosity and meticulous attribution of many of the people I follow.
You have friends on Minecraft? Yes, I do.
Online, the most important form of attribution is a hyperlink pointing back to the website of the creator of the work. This sends people who come across the work back to the original source. The number one rule of the internet: people are lazy. If you don't include a link, no one can click it. Attribution without a link online borders on useless. 99.9% of people are not going to bother Googling someone's name. All of this raises a question. What if you want to share something and you don't know where it came from or who made it? The answer: don't share things you can't properly credit. Find the right credit or don't share. 5. Tell good stories. Work doesn't speak for itself. To fake a photograph, all you have to do is change the caption. To fake a painting, change the attribution. Errol Morris. Close your eyes and imagine you're a wealthy collector who's just entered a gallery in an art museum. On the wall facing you, there are 2 gigantic canvases.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Feet tall. Both paintings depict a harbor at sunset. From across the room, they look identical. The same ships, the same reflections on the water, the same sun at the same stage of setting. You go in for a closer look. You can't find a label or a museum tag anywhere. You become obsessed with the paintings, which you nickname Painting A and Painting B. You spend an hour going back and forth from canvas to canvas, comparing brushstrokes. You can't detect a single difference. Just as you go to fetch a museum guard or someone who can shed light on these mysterious twin masterpieces, the head curator of the museum walks in. You eagerly inquire as to the origins of your new obsessions. The curator tells you that Painting A was painted in the 17th century by a Dutch master. And what of Painting B, you ask? Ah, yes, Painting B, the curator says. That's a forgery. It was copied last week by a graduate student at the local art college. Look up at the paintings. Which canvas looks better now? Which one do you want to take home? Art forgery is a strange phenomenon. You might think that the pleasure you get from a painting depends on its color and its shape and its pattern, says psychology professor Paul Bloom. And if that's right, it shouldn't matter whether it's an original or a forgery. But our brains don't work that way. When shown an object, or given a food, or shown a face, people's assessment of it, how much they like it, how valuable it is deeply affected by what you tell them about it. In their book Significant Objects, Joshua Glenn and Rob Walker recount an experiment in which they set out to test this hypothesis. Stories are such a powerful driver of emotional value that their effect on any given object's subjective value can actually be measured objectively. First, they went out to thrift stores, flea markets, and yard sales and bought a bunch of insignificant objects for an average of $1.25 an object.
Oh, what do you mean?
A bunch of writers,
What do you mean something
both
good?
famous and not so famous, to invent a story that attributed significance to each object. Finally, they listed each object on eBay, using the invented stories as the object's description, and whatever they had originally paid for the object as the auction's starting price. By the end of the experiment, they had sold $128.74 worth of trinkets for $3,612.51. Words matter. Artists love to trot out the tired line, "My work speaks for itself." But the truth is, our work doesn't speak for itself. Human beings want to know where things came from, how they were made, and who made them.
It's good? Yeah, it's good.
The stories you tell about the work you do have a huge effect on how people feel and what they understand about your work. And how people feel and what they understand about your work affects how they value it. Why should we describe the frustrations and turning points in the lab, or all the hours of groundwork and failed images that precede the final outcomes? Asks artist Rachel Sussman. Because, rarefied exceptions aside, our audience is a human one, and humans want to connect. Personal stories can make the complex more tangible, spark associations, and offer entry into things that might otherwise be cold. Your work doesn't exist in a vacuum. Whether you realize it or not, you're already telling a story about your work. Every email you send, every text, every conversation, every blog comment, every tweet, every photo, every video, they're all bits and pieces of a multimedia narrative you're constantly constructing. If you want to be more effective in sharing yourself and your work, you need to become a better storyteller. You need to know what a good story is and how to tell one. Structure is everything. The cat sat on a mat is not a story. The cat sat on the dog's mat is a story. John Le Carré. In the first act, you get your hero up a tree. The second act, you throw rocks at him. The third act, you let him down. George Abbott.
Hello.
The most important
Hello,
part
Mike.
of a
Come on,
story
Mike.
is its structure. A good story structure is tight,
Who's Mike?
sturdy, and logical. Unfortunately, most of life is messy, uncertain, and illogical. A lot of our raw experiences don't.
I don't speak Arabic, dog.
Fairy tale or Hollywood plot. Sometimes we have to do a lot of cropping and editing to fit our lives into something that resembles a story. If you study the structure of stories, you start to see how they work. And once you know how they work, you can then start stealing story structures and filling them in with characters, situations, and settings from your own life. Most story structures can be traced back to myths and fairy tales. Emma Coates, a former storyboard artist at Pixar, outlined the basic structure of a fairy tale as a kind of Mad Lib that you can fill in with your own elements. Once upon a time, there was blank. Every day, blank. One day,
Sorry.
blank. Because of that,
Apology accepted.
blank. Because of that, blank.
Back to the front, to the back, to
blank.
the...
Pick your favorite story and try to fill in the blanks. It's striking how often it works. Philosopher Aristotle said a story had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Author John Gardner said the basic plot of nearly all stories is this. A character wants something, goes after it despite opposition, perhaps including his own doubts, and so arrives at a win, lose, or draw. I like Gardner's plot formula because it's also the shape of most creative work. You get a great idea.
They're from Russia.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Executing the idea. And then you release the idea out into the world, coming to a win.
Bonjour,
or
bonjour.
draw. Sometimes the idea succeeds, sometimes it fails, and more often than not, it does nothing at all. This simple formula can be applied to almost any type of work
Back
project.
to the front, to
There's the
the...
initial problem, the work done to solve the problem, and the solution. Of course, when you're in the middle of the story, as most of us in life are, you don't know if it's a story at all, because you don't know how far into it you are, and you don't know how it's going to end. Fortunately, there's a way to tell open-ended stories, where we acknowledge that we're smack dab in the middle of the story, and we don't know how it all ends. Every client presentation, every personal essay, every cover letter, every fundraising request, they're all pitches. They're stories with the endings chopped off. A good pitch is set up in 3 acts. The first act is the past, the second act is the present, and the third act is the future. The first act is where you've been, what you want, how you came to want it, and what you've done so far to get it. The second act is where you are now in your work, and how you've worked hard and used up most of your resources. The third act is where you're going, and how exactly the person you're pitching can help you get there. Like a Choose Your Own Adventure book, this story shape effectively turns your listener into the hero who gets to decide how it ends. Whether you're telling a finished or unfinished story, always keep your audience in mind. Speak to them directly in plain language. Value their time. Be brief. Learn to speak. Learn to write. Use spell check. You're never keeping it real with your lack of proofreading and punctuation. You're keeping it unintelligible. Everybody loves a good story, but good storytelling doesn't come easy to everybody. It's a skill that takes a lifetime to master. So study the great stories and then go find some of your own. Your stories will get better the more you tell them. Talk about yourself at parties. Whatever we say, we're always talking about ourselves. Alison Bechdel. You got to make your case. Kanye West. We've all been there. You're standing at a party, enjoying your drink, when a stranger approaches, introduces herself, and asks the dreaded question. So what do you do? If you happen to be a doctor, or a teacher, or a lawyer, or a plumber, congratulations. You may proceed without caution. For the rest of us, we're going to need to practice our answers. Artists have it the worst. If you answer, I'm a writer, for example, there's a very good chance that the next question will be, oh, have you published anything? Which is actually a veiled way of asking, do you make any money off that? The way to get over the awkwardness in these situations is to stop treating them as interrogations and start treating them as opportunities to connect with somebody by honestly and humbly explaining what it is that you do. You should be able to explain your work to a kindergartner, a senior citizen, and everybody in between.
I'm stuck,
Of course,
chat.
you always need to keep your audience in mind. The way you explain your work to your buddies at the bar is not the way you explain your work to your mother. Just because you're trying to tell a good story about yourself doesn't mean you're inventing fiction. Stick to nonfiction. Tell the truth and tell it with dignity and self-respect. If you're a student, say you're a student. If you work a day job, say you work a day job. For years I said, by day I'm a web designer, and by night I write poetry. If you have a weird hybrid job, say something like, I'm a writer who draws. I stole that bio from the cartoonist Saul Steinberg. If you're unemployed, say so, and mention what kind of work you're looking for. If you're employed but you don't feel good about your job title, ask yourself why that is. Maybe you're in the wrong line of work, or maybe you're not doing the work you're supposed to be doing. There were many years where answering I'm a writer felt wrong because I wasn't actually writing. Remember what the author George Orwell wrote. Autobiography is only to be trusted when it reveals something disgraceful. Have empathy for your audience. Anticipate blank stares. Be ready for more questions. Answer patiently and politely. All the same principles apply when you start writing your bio. Bios are not the place to practice your creativity. We all like to think we're more complex than a two-sentence explanation, but a two-sentence explanation is usually what the world wants from us. Keep it short and sweet. Strike all the adjectives from your bio. If you take photos, you're not an aspiring photographer, and you're not an amazing photographer either. You're a photographer. Don't get cute. Don't brag. Just state the facts. One more thing. Unless you are actually a ninja, a guru, or a rock star, don't ever use any of those terms in your bio. Ever. 6. Teach what you know. Share your trade secrets. The impulse to keep to yourself what you have learned is not only shameful, it is destructive. Anything you do not give freely and abundantly becomes lost to you. You open your safe and find ashes. Any day. The world of barbecue is notoriously secretive and competitive, so it was a little bit of a shock in the winter of 2013 for me to be standing behind the legendary Franklin Barbecue here in Austin, Texas, watching pitmaster and barbecue wizard Aaron Franklin explain how he smokes his famous ribs in front of the camera crew. My friend Sarah Robertson, a producer at the local PBS station, had invited me to watch a taping of Barbecue with Franklin, a crowdfunded YouTube series designed to take viewers through every step of the barbecue process. In the series, Franklin explains how to modify an off-the-shelf smoker, how to select the right wood, how to build a fire, how to select a cut of meat, what temperature to smoke the meat at, and how to slice up the finished product. I started eating at Franklin Barbecue in 2010 when it was served out of a trailer off Interstate 35. In only 3 years, Franklin has become one of the most famous barbecue joints in the world. Bon Appetit called it the best barbecue in Texas, if not America. 6 days a week, rain or 100-degree sunshine, there's a line that goes around the block. And each one of those days, they sell out of meat. If ever it seemed like there was a business that would be intent to keep its secrets to itself, it would be this one. When I got to talk to Aaron and his wife Stacy during a break in filming, they explained that the technique of barbecue is actually very simple, but it takes years and years to master. There's an intuition that you only gain through the repetition of practice. Aaron told me that he trains all his employees the same way, but when he cuts into a brisket, he can tell you exactly who did the smoking. Teaching doesn't mean instant competition. Just because you know the master's technique doesn't mean you're going to be able to emulate it right away. You can watch Franklin's tutorials over and over, but are you ready to start spending 22 hours a day smoking meat that will sell out in 2 hours? Probably not. If you're me, you'll pay the $13 a pound even more gladly. The Franklins also just genuinely love barbecue, and they go out of their way to share their knowledge. People often stop by with their own attempts at brisket, and Aaron is always gracious and patient when answering their questions. You don't get the feeling that any of this is calculated. It's just the way they operate. They started out as beginners, and so they feel an obligation to pass on what they've learned. Of course, many chefs and restaurateurs have become rich and famous by sharing their recipes and their techniques. In their book Rework, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansen encourage businesses to emulate chefs by out-teaching their competition. What do you do? What are your recipes? What's your cookbook? What can you tell the world about how you operate that's informative, educational, and promotional? They encourage businesses to figure out the equivalent of their own cooking show. Think about what you can share from your process that would inform the people you're trying to reach. Have you learned a craft? What are your techniques? Are you skilled at using certain tools and materials? What kind of knowledge comes along with your job? The minute you learn something, turn around and teach it to others. Share your reading list. Point to helpful reference materials. Create some tutorials and post them online. Use pictures, words, and video. Take people step by step through part of your process. As blogger Kathy Sierra says, make people better at something they want to be better at. Teaching people doesn't subtract value from what you do. It actually adds to it. When you teach someone how to do your work, you are, in effect, generating more interest in your work. People feel closer to your work because you're letting them in on what you know. Best of all, when you share your knowledge and your work with others, you receive an education in return. Author Christopher Hitchens said that the great thing about putting out a book is that it brings you into contact with people whose opinions you should have canvassed before you ever pressed pen to paper. They write
What's up, chat?
they
What's
telephone you,
up?
they come to your bookstore events.
Back
and
to
you
the
things
front,
read that
to
you
the
should have
front.
read already. He said that having his work out in the world was a free education that goes on for a lifetime. 7. Don't turn into human spam. Shut up and listen. When people realize they're being listened to, they tell you things. Richard Florey. When I was in college, there was always one classmate in every creative writing workshop who claimed, I love to write, but I don't like to read. It was evident right away that you could pretty much write that kid off completely. As every writer knows, if you want to be a writer, you have to be a reader first. The writing community is full of lame-o people who want to be published in journals even though they don't read the magazines that they want to be published in, says writer Dan Shaw. These people deserve the rejections that they will undoubtedly receive, and no one should feel sorry for them when they cry about how they can't get
Back
anyone
to the
accept
front,
their
to the
stories.
back.
I call these people human spam. They're everywhere, and they exist in every profession. They don't want to pay their dues, they want their piece right here, right now. They don't want to listen to your ideas, they want to tell you theirs. They don't want to go to shows, but they thrust flyers at you on the sidewalk and scream at you to come to theirs. You should feel pity for these people and their delusions. At some point, they didn't get the memo that the world owes none of us anything.
Nothing.
Of course, you don't have to be a nobody to be human spam. I've watched plenty of interesting, successful people slowly turn into it. The world becomes all about them and their work. They can't find the time to be interested in anything other than themselves. No matter how famous they get, the forward-thinking artists of today aren't just looking for fans or passive consumers of their work. They're looking for potential collaborators
Back
or
to the front, to the
co-conspirators.
front.
These artists acknowledge that good work isn't created in a vacuum. and that the experience of art is always a two-way street, incomplete without feedback. These artists hang out online and answer questions. They ask for reading recommendations. They chat with fans about the stuff they love. The music producer Adrian Young was hanging out on Twitter one day and tweeted, "Who is better, the Dramatics or the Delphonics?" As his followers erupted in a debate over the two soul groups, one
You love
follower
coffee, I love
mentioned that
coffee.
the lead singer of the Delphonics, William Hart, was a friend of his dad's, and that Hart just happened to be a fan of Young's music. The follower suggested that the two should collaborate. To make a long story short, Young says, "A day later I'm on the phone with William Hart, and we're speaking for like 2 hours. We hit it off in a way that was just cosmic." Young then produced a brand new record with Hart. Adrian Young presents the Delphonics. That story is great for two reasons. One, it's the only story of an album I know of whose
Back
existence
to the
can
front.
be traced to a single tweet.
Back
Two,
to the
it
front.
shows what happens when a musician interacts with his fans on the
Back
level
to the
of a
front,
fan
to the-
himself. If you want fans, you have to be a fan first. If you want to be accepted by a community, you have to first be a good citizen of that community. If you're only pointing to your own stuff online, you're doing it wrong. You have to be a connector. The writer Blake Butler calls this being an open node. If you want to get, you have to give. If you want to be noticed, you have to notice. Shut up and listen once in a while. Be thoughtful. Be considerate. Don't turn into human spam. Be an open node. You want hearts, not eyeballs. What you want is to follow and be followed by human beings who care about issues you care about. This thing we make together. This thing is about hearts and minds, not eyeballs. Jeffrey Zeldin. Stop worrying about how many people follow you online and start worrying about the quality of people who follow you. Don't waste your time reading articles about how to get more followers. Don't waste time following people online just because you think it'll get you somewhere. Don't talk to people you don't want to talk to, and don't talk about stuff you don't want to talk about. If you want followers, be someone worth following. Donald Barthelme supposedly said to one of his students, "Have you tried making yourself a more interesting person?" This seems like a really mean thing to say, unless you think of the word interesting the way writer Lawrence Weschler does. For him, to be interesting is to be curious.
She
and
loves my.
attentive,
What the?
and to
What
practice
does that
the
mean, bro?
continual projection
What did I
of
just miss out?
interest.
I love you guys talking and interacting in my chat. I appreciate it.
If you want to be
I love what you guys
interesting,
doing.
You have to be
Appreciate it, man.
interesting.
W in the chat. W in the
It is
shot.
actually true that life is all about who you know. But who you know is largely dependent on who you are and what you do, and the people you know can't do anything for you if you're not doing good work. Connections don't mean shit, says record producer Steve Albini. I've never had any connections that weren't a natural outgrowth of doing things I was doing anyway. Albini laments how many people waste time and energy trying to make connections instead of getting good at what they do, when being good at things is the only thing that earns you clout or connections. Make stuff you love and talk about stuff you love, and you'll attract people who love that kind of stuff. It's that simple. Don't be creepy. Don't be a jerk. Don't waste people's time. Don't ask too much. And don't ever ask people to follow you. Follow me back is the saddest question on the internet. The vampire test. Whatever excites you, go do it. Whatever drains you, stop doing it. Derek Sivers. There's a funny story in John Richardson's biography, A Life of Picasso. Pablo Picasso was notorious for sucking all the energy out of the people he met. His granddaughter Marina claimed that he squeezed people like one of his tubes of oil paints. He'd have a great time hanging out all day with Picasso, and then he'd go home nervous and exhausted, and Picasso would go back to his studio and paint all night, using the energy he'd sucked out of you.
Israel is reportedly paying to film every
Most people
halftime
put
show
up with this because they got to hang out with Picasso all day, but not Constantin Brancusi, the Romanian-born sculptor. Brancusi hailed from the Carpathian Mountains, and he knew a vampire when he saw one. He was not going to have his energy or the fruits of his energy juiced by
Bro,
Picasso.
what's
So
that
he
sound?
refused to have anything to
Sorry,
do
but I
with it.
cannot subscribe. Search my mom's doesn't want.
Brancusi practiced
Okay, no
what he
problem.
called the
Thank
vampire
you.
test.
Thank you for being here.
It's a
Appreciate
simple way
it.
to know who you should let in and out of your life. If after hanging out with
The
someone,
song. It's
you
not
feel
a
like
song.
you're
It's
included,
it's
that
Instagram.
person is a
I'm
vampire.
using Instagram.
If after hanging out with someone you still
Hold on,
feel
chat.
like
I'm gonna take a break.
that
One second.
person is not a vampire. Of course, the vampire test works on many things in our lives, not just people.
Back
You can
to the
apply it
front,
jobs,
to the back, to
hobbies,
the front.
places, etc. Vampires cannot be cured. Should you find yourself in the presence of a vampire, be like Brancusi and banish it from your life forever.
Back to the front, to the back. What the fuck are you doing in your face? I was taking pictures. Give me a second, chat.
Keep it fashionable. Keep it fashionable, y'all. Keep it fashionable. Whoa, hold on. What time is it, yo? Keep it fashionable.
Like, keep it a stack. Way. Back to the front, to the back, to the front. Back to the front.
Disney World jealous out this month. Man, I didn't really think it was that gay at first. So what is everybody? Because when I was coming out, everyone was like, man, that place is really gay. What the fuck is everybody talking about? It's not so gay. And then I wandered into that Castro. Dang, listen. I said, this is America's anus right here. This shit is deep.
Yeah.
Tenderloin is
I need to build this, man.
nothing tender about that motherfucker at all. That shit was rough. The opposite of tender. I have never seen crack smoked so casually before. These niggas was
I actually feel like
sitting in
you're
front of
out.
Starbucks, smoking crack and drinking coke. I said, this is off the hook.
I don't know what that means,
Talking
but
about
okay.
politics. I seen one crackhead trying to break into somebody's car, man, and it struck a chord when I tried to stop. I said, hey! And he looked back at something and said, nigga, that was me that said that. I'm trying to help you. I want this shit to stop. Crackheads are like, I had a crackhead break my car window one time. Broke it! You know he stole? Fucking candy bar I had lying on the seat. That's all he took. Goddamn candy bar. I was so mad. I drove around the neighborhood for 5 hours before a crackhead with chocolate on his face. I did that. I finally found when I grabbed him over. I said, hey man, what's all this chocolate on your face? Motherfucker! He looked confused. Chocolate? This is doo-doo, baby. I said, ah! Oh, man. Place is insane. But you know what I like about San Fran? The reason I picked this city to do my special is because it's all the major cities in America. Somehow people get along here better than anywhere else I've seen in the country. That's right. That's right. And I always admired San Fran for that. And today I realized how you did it. Put all the niggas on the other side of that bridge. There's nothing, this shit ain't happy on that side. When you leave San Francisco, like, bye, thanks for coming to San Francisco. Come back in April, we're having a sale on Birkenstocks. As soon as you get to the other side, welcome to Oakland, bitch. Click, click.
Sorry guys, bye bye, bad boy.
I also feel like it's the East Coast city and the West Coast. You guys got subways and shit. I'm scared of public transportation. I was on a bus that was held hostage. 45 minutes. It wasn't like that. I don't want to give you that impression. It was a dude jerking off. But the shit was scary, son. It was scary. Right before it happened, I was on the bus smoking cigarettes. It's a long story. That's not the coolest shit I ever did. And people freaked out. Sir! Sir, put that goddamn cigarette out, okay? This is everybody's air, sir. I flicked it. I didn't want any trouble. And just at that moment, coincidentally, this homeless dude out of nowhere pulls his dick out. Started beating off. And I was furious. Because nobody said shit to this guy. They were just looking like, I was the only one on the bus that had the balls to say anything to him. It's not even like I was brave, really. I was sitting next to the motherfucker. I had to say something. Come on, dog. You hit my elbows. Stop. Stop. That's all I said. I didn't want to say too much. Guys beating off on the bus. I mean, there's something wrong with him. He's not wrapped so tight. I didn't want to push him over the edge. As soon as I said something, all these dummies on the bus now they're brave. He's right. Put your goddamn cock away. I don't want to see this anymore. I don't want to see it either. Yeah! Now the guy flips out. All right, everybody, back up. Back up. I tried to be nice about this. Now everybody freaks out. Oh my God, it's a biological attack. Oh. be cool. Let's do what this man says, so he'll leave us alone. Now everybody's quiet. That's better. That is better. And then he started walking up and down the aisles, was terrorizing us. And then he starts making demands. You in the pink shirt, squeeze your tits together. No. You, stick your finger in your butt. Why? Oh God, why is this happening? Oh God. He was working my way. It was tight. Just that minute. I got saved, dudes. I was so lucky. This guy at the other end of the bus, he snapped. He lost his mind. I seen him happen. Ah! Screamed out, rush him! You can't come on all of us and charge him out. Ah! And it's like a movie. This homeless dude seen him coming, shot one off. Ah! I dodged that shit like the Matrix, nigga. The guy behind me wasn't so lucky, though. No! Oh! That shit was gross. It didn't kill him, but it was, I'm sure that fucked his day up. You're not gonna have a normal day if the homeless dude busting on your forehead and 8:30 in the morning. That's a wrap for the rest of the day. Ah! I was freaking out. It burns! Oh! 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 Everyone was standing around looking, even the homeless dude felt bad. I guess he was finished. He came back to his senses. This is my stuff. I said, relax, you know, but I had to say something. Relax!
Oh, okay. I got AIDS, I know it.
I said, you can't get AIDS from the homeless dude busting a knot on your forehead. That's not how it spreads. I don't even know if that's just true. That's just what I told him, man. He was so scared I had to say something. I don't know where AIDS comes from. Who the fuck knows? Scientists don't even know. Scientists still say AIDS started somebody had sex with a monkey. Work. After all this research, this is the best explanation that you came up with, mother. Nobody fucks monkeys and people, you idiot. You either fuck monkeys or you fuck people. That's it. There's no in between. You're not gonna get some monkey pussy on Tuesday and then be like, oh, let me call Charlene on Thursday. No. Once you fuck a monkey, that's a firm decision. I'm out of the human pussy game for good. It's ridiculous. You act like monkeys are just as open as waiting for people to fuck them, man. Monkeys don't want to be fucked by people. Think about it. Think how hard it would be to catch a monkey and fuck it. That's ridiculous. That's how it had to go down. You think you're just gonna walk up to him in the woods and grab this nigga with fruits and bananas? Hey, buddy. Hey. Yeah. There you go, buddy. Yeah. There you go, your big bright legs. It's big bright red booty. You know how strong a monkey is? Would rip your dick off like a celery stalk. Just throw that shit in the tall grass, will never be seen again. Hey dog, we gonna go to the club, pick up some girls who trying to roll. Nah man, I'm cool. I'm stay home, dog. Chill with my monkey. You know how long it took me to train this monkey? Suck my dick without peeing. Last night, Chim Chim jerked me off with his feet. Nigga, only a monkey can show you that kind of love and tenderness. So y'all keep fucking these people if you want, niggas. No monkey pussy for me. Hoping it was an orangutan next week. It's all I fuck. Chimps and orangutans. You know who I feel real bad for is Indians. Everybody feels bad for Indians. They get dogged openly because everybody thinks they're dead. These motherfuckers are not all dead, all right? I've seen, with my own eyes, I've seen a gathering of 1,500 Native Americans. They're all gathered in one place. The place is called Walmart in New Mexico. There's Indians there, but I've never seen Indians before. I wasn't even sure if they were Indians. It's fucked up, but I asked one. Not nice, but I seen them in the sports section looking at bows and arrows. I had to say something, so excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. Are you an Indian? And it was cool. Yes. Yes, I'm Indian. Still didn't believe it. I had to test it to be sure. It's fucked up. But I had a gum wrapper in my pocket, so I balled that shit up and I threw it on the floor. And a single tear came out of his eye. I said, oh shit. I had so many questions. What tribe are you from? I am Navajo. I studied you in social studies. You're a hunter-gatherer, correct? I said, I guess so. That's what you wish to call it. I said, what do you call it? I said, I am Navajo. I said, well, what's your name, dog? He said, please. Dog is my cousin. That's a good guess. My name is Burning Coyote. What is your name, friend? And that shit called me off guard. I mean, I didn't want to say my name was Dave to a motherfucker named Burning Coyote. This don't feel good enough. He just put me on the spot. I said, huh? My name what? Oh, my name's Blackfeet. Then I changed the subject. Forget about me. What's going on with you? I want to meet your chief. Why don't me, you, and your chief and your friends get together tonight? We can have a real live smoke ritual. We need to celebrate, nigga. I thought you were dead. And he set it up. It was beautiful. It was just like I dreamed. We was all sitting around, Indians getting drunk. Other Indians came out the back. Long blanket was folded in the open that shit up, and on the blanket was a long wooden pipe with feathers. And bags of weed were all over the blanket. Cheap walk. The big ones are 50. The little ones are 25. These are 10. Man, those Indians got high as shit. I was baked. I told the chief. He was talking. I cut him off. Time out, chief. Sorry to interrupt. Fucking smash, man. The weed's too strong. Itching. This PCP. The spirits have got me. Chief, the spirits have got me. And the chief threw some water in my face. Calm down, Blackface. Splash. I said, hey, it's Blackfeet, motherfucker. Take it easy. Blackfeet, you're welcome to stay amongst me and my tribe for the night. Until the spirits leave. And they gave me my own teepee to sleep in. Which sounds nice. I personally felt like it was a little fucked up. You know, because they all had houses, man. It's like, why can't I sleep with y'all in the house and watch TV? Like, I can't go in this grass all that. Yeah, Indians are rude, man. Everybody's rude. Indians, They eat nasty food. All they ate was corn and shit. Doritos, I think they call it. That's right. People only see the surface. They see the division in our foods. Just because I eat chicken, watermelon. They think that there's something wrong with me. Let me tell you something. You don't like chicken or watermelon. Something's wrong with you, motherfucker. There's something wrong with you. Where are all these people that don't like chicken and watermelon? I'm sick of hearing about how bad it is. It's great. I'm waiting for chicken to approach me to do a commercial, nigga. I'll do it for free, chicken. At least I can do. They make fun of black people for eating, what y'all eat? Beans, rice, corn. Listen, that's not a reason to hate a motherfucker, all right? It's funny, but it's not a reason to hate. The only reason these things are even an issue is because nobody knows what white people eat. You've been very good at keeping that shit secret amongst yourselves. I study white people. I don't know that. I'm writing a paper on you. Not even for school, nigga, just to do it. Just to get who's doing independent research. I'm spending my money, that's why I'm working so hard. Follow you around grocery stores. They freak out. Just try to pick in the cart. They always say, get away from my cart, nigga. What are you looking at? Chicken and chiplets are over there. You must be lost. These are vegetables. I know what you drink. Stuff like that. Grape juice. Surprise, motherfuckers. You didn't know I knew about grape juice, did you? Oh, don't play dumb with me. A lot of black people don't have the privilege to know about grape juice because they have grape drink. It's not the same formula that you get. Ain't no vitamins in that shit. You might have one of your black friends over, Todd. Todd, would you care for a glass of grape juice? Nigga, what the fuck is juice? I want some grape drink, baby. It's purple. I don't think I know what grape drink is. What? That's some apple juice if you want. What the fuck is juice? I want some apple drink. Scream. Remember that commercial with Sunny Delight when all the kids running from outside playing? They all run to the fridge. All right, I got some purple stuff, some Sunny D. As soon as you say Sunny D, all the kids go, yeah! Watch the black kid in the back. If you ever see that commercial, you look at that black kid, you be like, I want that purple stuff. That's drink, man. That is drink. They want drink. What all them vitamins, nigga? I went drink. Sugar, water, purple. That's the ingredient. Sugar, water, and of course, purple. Too fucking much. I got a lot of things to talk about tonight. First of all, I stopped smoking weed. With black people, you didn't let me finish, motherfuckers. God damn. I'm sorry, black people, to break the news so publicly, but I can't smoke it anymore. The time I smoke weed with my black friends, all you talk about
Yo, what's up, chat?
trials and tribulations.
Hi, bro. Join my server.
I'm sick of that shit. I got my own problems, and that's a waste of weed.
I'm good, bro.
Oh! Not take on yours.
I was dying.
Now on, I smoke weed exclusively with white people. Calm down, motherfuckers. You win by default. We got good weed conversation. All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high. I can listen to that shit all night. You remember Frank's last week? Fucking smash, man. And catalogs everything they drink. 2 shots of Jaeger, tequila, 4 bong hits, man. Beer, cheeseburger. That shit is great. The only bad part is if you're not passed out around white people, white dudes pass out around each other. They always do some borderline gay shit when the guy's asleep. Frank fell asleep, so he like stuck a carrot in his ass and put shaving cream on his balls. Why, motherfucker? Why would you do that to a friend of yours? He trusted you enough to sleep around you, gonna put a carrot in his ass? Is that nice? I tell you right now, if I put a carrot in a black dude's ass, that nigga will kill you when he wakes up for some shit like that. That is an automatic death sentence on the street. It's a rap for you. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. I thought y'all was friends, baby. What happened? I fell asleep at his house, right? He was drinking, and I fell asleep at his house, and while I was sleeping, right? I'm just gonna kill that motherfucker, all right? That's all you need to know. And fuck carrots. But everybody's getting along. I see that shit. I see it all around. Blacks and whites don't fight so much. You know who don't have no beef with anybody? Asian people. I see how y'all be doing. Y'all just laying the cut. Only people Asian people beef with is other Asian people. Like if you call a Korean guy Chinese, I've done this. They will flip out. Hey! Make you think I'm Chinese? I am Korean. I look Chinese. Yes, motherfucker, you do look Chinese. That's why I said it. It's an accident. Make you put an untrained eye, you all look Chinese to me. It's a mistake. I'm not trying to offend you. Some people say all black people look alike. We don't get bent out of shape. We normally just call those people police. Okay? Just learn to live with it. That's all I can tell you. Everybody's afraid of police. Scared to death of these police. I am, nigga. I got a police scan. First money I got was the first shit. When I bought me a police scan, I just listen to these motherfuckers before I go out. Just to make sure everything's cool. You hear shit on it.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. Be on the lookout for a black male between 4'7" and 6'8".
Staying in the crib tonight. Fuck that. Gotta work on that alibi for a minute. Every black person needs an alibi. I do them impromptu joints. If I'm by myself and need out, I'll just open up the window in the apartment, turn on the lights, and stop beating off right in the window. Look at me! Hey, everybody, look! It's me, Dave Chappelle, praise and jerking all over. Note the time, motherfuckers. It's 2:35. Look at me, I'm jerking all over the window, 2:35. Comedian Dave Chappelle is June 10th. Note the time. That shit could save my life.
Officer Dave Chappelle couldn't have done that. I saw him in his window masturbating from 2:35 to 2:37. I'm certain of it. He was standing on a clock and holding a calendar and today's paper.
Like, I need an alibi. I can't be no celebrity. This shit is just the worst. You see it. I see why stars are crazy. I went to Disney World with my kids, which is a big deal for me. I see my kids so much. Bruce Chappelle show, 20 hours a day, sleep for like half an hour, raise my kids for 10, 20 minutes, and I go back to work. Now, this particular day, I got to hook up with kids when we were at Disney World. Everybody at the park. Hey! Rick James, bitch! Hey, Rick James, bitch! It's like, hey, man, hey. You mind not calling me a bitch in front of my kids? Time out, motherfucker. We take a day off. Even Mickey Mouse did it. I said, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in my life. Rick James, bitch! Oh, I was fed up. I caught that motherfucker with an uppercut. Pop! Knocked his head clean off. Everybody was screaming. Oh my God! Oh my God! Mickey Mouse is Mexican! I had a terrible time in Disney World. Disney World is like a whole nother country anyway. They got their own currency. That shit is ridiculous. As soon as I check in the hotels, welcome to Disney World, Mr. Chappelle. Can we interest you in some Disney dollars. Nah, man, I'm cool. Can't buy weed and pussy with Disney dollars. Like, I'm on vacation. Like in greenbacks. Like in greenbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's the kind of money people spend. People are very particular about that. I saw that. It was one of the main stories from the war. The first big thing we did was they said, now that Iraq has been liberated, we have managed to take Saddam Hussein's face off the money. And I'm not gonna lie, when that press conference came on, I was like choked up. I was actually proud to be an American because that is a very subtle psychological nuance of oppression to have a dictator on your money. And it's thoughtful to be able to take that motherfucker off for the goodwill of another person, right? Then I thought, well, if we could do that for Iraq, what about our money, man? Our money looked like baseball cards with slave owners on. George Washington was worst of the worst. Yes, I said it. You mythologize this motherfucker like he was the greatest dude, man. If I went back in time with white folks, and we saw George Washington walking in front of our town, my white friend would probably be like, oh, look, there's George Washington. I'd be on the other side like, run, nigga, George Washington. And we'd both be right. We like him because he wrote the Declaration of Independence and all that shit. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Oh, man. Go get me a sandwich, nigger, or I'll kill you. Liberty, justice for all. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Wait a minute, did he not own slaves? Did he own slaves? Miles on saying. I almost protested the war in the beginning. Almost. Until I saw what happened to them Dixie chicks. I said, fuck that. If they do that to 3 white women, they will tear my black ass to pieces. I don't want to hear that shit. Yeah, man, they would. But I'm like, for real, why you care so much what the Dixie chicks say? It's not like they political scientists and nothing. They just bitches that can sing good. You know what I mean? Stop worshiping celebrities so much. Just don't listen, pay attention. I remember right around September 11th, Ja Rule was on MTV. That's what it is. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Let's see what Ja's thoughts are on this tragedy. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to dance. I'm scared to death.